Hey guys, I'm Haley and I am here in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA for Show Hope's annual Family Fest, and I'm here with none other than the co-founder and president of Show Hope, Beth Chapman. So what kind of legacy would you like Show Hope as an organization to leave?
Talking about legacy, we have 6 children, one of who is already fully alive in the arms of Jesus, which this picnic today is a celebration of the life of Maria Sue, our youngest. Really, the legacy I want to leave is just that we all are called to do something when it comes to the orphan crisis. We may not all be called to adopt, but we're all called to do something. And just to kind of pull that scope back to say we can all work together to do that. It doesn't just have to be us as Show Hope. It can be you guys. It can be whatever to work together to really move that platform forward. I just hope the legacy is that the Chapmans were faithful with their platform.
For you personally, what's the best or most rewarding part about working at Show Hope?
When Show Hope first started, Stephen and I had this lofty goal that if we could help 100 children get adopted, to get into forever family Christian homes, then we would really consider it a success. And we didn't know. We didn't know if people would partner with us, if people would catch the vision. We just wanted to be willing with the platform God had already given Stephen. And I guess today, 10 plus years later, over 4,500 kids have been helped just with grants. And those children represent 55 countries. So that's kind of like a small vision of heaven, if you will. And I just never would have thought of that in a million years. But the fact that that's happened, and then the element of helping the children in the special care centers of Show Hope, that's become just really one of those places that's so special for me, because it started with this grant. Let's help families adopt, but it's kind of spread into helping families become whole all the way around, and whether that's medical care before they come home or post care. I think that whole part of that has just been what's been so special, to see God form that into the kind of seed and plant that's become.
James 1:27 was an integral part of your foundation. How does that help in day-to-day life at Show Hope?
Well, as you know, James 1:27, it's the verse that so many people who love the idea of orphan care, love wanting to get involved, but it really is the mandate from Christ himself to care for widows and orphans in their distress. And when we first found ourselves in China, that first trip to receive Shoei as our daughter, we had no idea where God was really asking us to step into. But the moment that I was handed Shoei in the hallway in a hotel in China, it just all started to make sense to me that this was my own adoption story that was going on as well, that Jesus had come to adopt me, so that he wasn't going to leave us as orphans, that I was going to be adopted into his kingdom fully, and I'm his princess, right? So as I was experiencing that, as I was physically being handed Shoei, we thought, moving forward, how could this not be every fabric, every part of what Show Hope has become? And trying to live that daily is just, personally, we have our family. We have three natural and 3 supernatural, is what we call those blessed children, the children that have blessed our lives, from adoption. And so on a personal level, we just try to love them, is really out of the love that Jesus has shown us. And it's just been, I guess it's just kind of oozes into every crack, and we're all broken. And so I always, the vision of that James 1:27 is how it just kind of oozes into all of our broken places, but yet in reality, that's how God makes us whole. So it's everywhere you look.
If you could tell everyone at Family Fest one thing about Show Hope, what would that one thing be?
Well, that's awesome. No. I would tell everybody at Show Hope, or everybody at Family Fest, that while there are no perfect people and there's no perfect organization, that this is an organization that is founded first and foremost on prayer. Our executive director, Scott Hasenbog, who is kind of the day-to-day guy, and Charlie Redmond, who you'll see running around here today, and Dan Coley and all of the executive leadership team. They're amazing in keeping us kind of grounded spiritually. Stephen and I know that this is something that it's not what Stephen and Beth started. It's really what God planted into the spirits of all of us and the souls of all of us, but yet we just wanted to just really listen and take the steps that God was asking us to do. So really, I guess I'd want everybody to know that, but by God's grace, Show Hope exists to just really care for the least of the least, and that we do that with a lot of prayer.
How can our viewers get involved with Show Hope?
In the journey of Show Hope, I think so many people start to begin to feel like, I don't know, this whole adoption thing, I'm just not so sure. And you know what, I'm a firm believer that not everybody's called to adopt. Not everybody may be called to bring a child actually into their home, as part of their family. But I am a firm believer that everyone is called to do something. Just going back to the James 1:27, how do we care for orphans? Well, you're clearly doing that by what God's put in your heart so easily to do. Be a businesswoman, be an entrepreneur, but kind of keep in mind, where can I plug in? How can I help? How can I partner with other people? How can I give back? We have the red bus back behind us. It's a rolling thrift store so that students can get involved. I always say you're never too young. We have children that do lemonade stands all the way up to families who are adopting. So I would just say really kind of that bloom where you're planted, and just really try to listen to the Holy Spirit to say, you know what, whatever this idea is may be crazy, but I'm going to do this with this intent to kind of give back and give to this thing called, orphan care, the orphan crisis. I think you'd be surprised where God might take you.
Also here with us today is Executive Director for Show Hope, Scott Hasenbach. How or why did you become connected with Show Hope?
Well, back in September of 2001, my wife was the co-founder of the Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute, and I was in corporate America, and the Chapmans were in Washington, D.C. to do some advocacy work along with my wife, and met them for the first time. And within the next year after meeting them, they asked me if I would help them start this thing called Show Hope, which is now Show Hope, was Show Hannah's Hope in the beginning. So I was the founding executive director, and what started out as sort of a 6-month, let's see how we do this and what we might do. Here we are 11 years later, and I got the best job in the world.
What do you enjoy most about working with Show Hope?
Well, I love the fact that we're about building bridges for families and orphans. So orphans that don't have families, families that want to adopt, and we're sort of that middle person that helps bring those two spheres of people together, and just see that life change that happens in the lives of these orphans is just remarkable to get up every day and have that opportunity to do so. And obviously working with the Chapmans and being alongside them, in front of them, behind them, and just in their lives is a real treat and a real blessing, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
What do you think the importance or significance of Family Fest is to Show Hope?
Well, I think this is a real special day to remember Maria, who tragically left us 6 years ago in May of 2008. And it's a day of remembering that day, but also remembering what was set in motion that day, which was, just an incredible outpouring of God's love through a lot of people to help us build and open Maria's Big House of Hope in China. And to see so many orphans find, not just, a little bit of food and shelter, but those children that have congenital diseases that will eventually be adopted, to see that we can remember that out of a tragedy. This is just something that Maria would have loved to have been a part of. She loved family. She was all about family. And we thought no better way to remember and celebrate her life by coming together with so many families that have been supported through Show Hope and the extended Nashville family. And so this is just one of those days that really represents so much of our values. So it's an incredible day to just celebrate what God has done out of tragedy.
If you could tell everyone at Family Fest one thing about Show Hope, what would that be?
I would say that, we're about redemptive things and taking kids that have the, I think it's in Proverbs 31:8 that says to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. And I think we as an organization want to do everything we can in hot pursuit of trying to, build a bridge for orphans that live in these islands of loneliness and help them find forever families. And everything we do is about taking those kids and trying to help them find permanent homes. And so that's the real essence of Show Hope and how we go about doing that with our student initiative and affecting the next generation so that when they grow up, they become responsible adults, and adoption is a part of their sort of DNA, so they're going to adopt someday. I would just love for people to remember Show Hope as an organization that really cares about vulnerable children in our own backyard here in Nashville and around the world.